Joining us here on India Today is Mr. Ajith Kumar, or rather Padma Bhushan. Ajith Kumar, Vanakkam. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations, first of all. Has it sunk in that you're now a Padma Bhushan?
Vanakkam, Ashita. Honestly, it still hasn't sunk in. Like I said, I'm still very middle class at heart. So it feels so surreal to be here, experiencing all these emotions. Would like to thank the government of India to have received the award from the Honorable President Srimati Draupadi Murmu ji and Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Wish to thank them, the film fraternity, the motorsports fraternity, my friends from the aero modeling, fraternity, the Rifle Club of Chennai. I think I owe it to all of them, and of course my family.
Your biggest support system.
My biggest support, my parents, my siblings, Shalini, my kids, Anushka.
We saw them very proudly applauding
my son,
when you were there.
Hardik. And Shalini, she made so many sacrifices, so she's been the pillar of my, extremely grateful to the universe, and of course Suresh, my family and all of them have been through some very difficult times, and fans been receiving unconditional love, and there have been good days, bad days, and things have been good, so I hope it remains this way.
What was that moment like? You found out in January, a few months ago. What was that moment like? What were the emotions that you went through? Because do you feel, this means that you've peaked as an actor?
Firstly, I was very overwhelmed. And secondly, moments like this inspire you. Or it kind of reassures you that you're on the right path. And to continue to do what I have been doing all these years.
When you were honored with the Padma Bhushan, I remember posting about it, and I referred to you as superstar. And I got a lot of comments from your fans saying, no, Ajith sir doesn't like being called a superstar, doesn't like being called Tala. Is that your secret to success, staying grounded? Because you are a superstar.
No, I don't believe in all these, what should we say?
These tags.
Suffixes to your name. I prefer being called Ajith, AK or whatever. See, it's just another job. If you really, it's just another job. I'm an actor by profession. I get paid for it, doing my job. Fame, fortune are all byproducts of your work. So I think I love my job. I love what I've been doing for the last 33 years, and trying to keep my life as simple as I can.
You've done more than one thing, I think, in 33 years, besides acting, which is a full-time job in itself. You're also a racer, you're also a shooter. How do you find the time to, juggle all of these things?
I think I've been very lucky. My friends, had friends who had, varied interests like in rifle shooting or aero modeling. So it gave me the opportunity to pursue those hobbies. So, like they say, being at the right place at the right time with the right people. So I lucked out.
Can I just say that it's so wonderful that you acknowledge your wife's contribution and the fact that she's made sacrifices. Not many men do that, and I think you're setting a great example.
No, I'm not trying to sound politically correct here. I mean it in every sense. As you all know, she's
so
acting
popular.
popular, so much loved by the people, and for her to just take a back seat and support me every step. There have been times when probably my decisions have not been the right decisions, but still stood by me, not discouraging me, and standing by my side during the tough times. She deserves a lot of credit for everything that I have achieved in my life. Probably living a dream. Like even the whole, this experience of being here, receiving the Padma Bhushan, it's so surreal. I'm scared that somebody kind of wake me up, pinch me and wake me up, and
it was all a dream.
It's like, and I'm scared that I'd wake up, thinking this is all a dream. So I'm extremely grateful. It's not easy being in public life, right? So really, really grateful for everything that's happened in my life. It made me wiser, stronger. And look at racing. I mean, I don't think it's fair on my part to be putting her through, my loved ones
She
through.
must be worried.
I'm sure they are, but she also realizes that racing is something I have been doing since I was very young, and even before I became an actor. So
How did it happen?
it just happened. Again, I've seen it happened organically. So if you really ask me how it happened, I just can't pinpoint it to any one particular, it just, it was there at the back of my mind that if I could get back to racing, of course I'm too old for single seaters right now, but then suddenly the thought of taking part in the GT4 championships, European series, or the endurance series, the 24-hour endurance. So it just, I was lucky. I met some people who advised me as to how I could go about it, and then I met up with Fabian, my teammate, and we put the team together. Yeah, just so like I said, probably it was meant to happen, so it just happened organically.
But it is scary. I mean, I remember that one incident from February. There was a video, of course, of the crash. I'm sure for your family, that was a very tough time. For fans, they were so worried, and they said, why is Ajith Kumar doing this? He's so popular, he's achieved so much. Why still go ahead and do this?
I think I find racing, motorsports, motor racing a lot more safer than driving on the roads anywhere in the world. I'm not talking about India. I mean anywhere in the world, because the chances of you being involved in a road accident is a lot more than in a racetrack. And if you look at motorsports, it's all controlled in the sense like the cars are made to withstand the impact, protect the drivers, or disintegrate to a point that the driver is still, not affected by the crash. And then you have the marshals who make sure that the car that's involved in a crash is like cordoned off, and the other cars are not at risk as well. And only the medics are allowed to attend to you. And then you're racing. I mean, over a season you race with about 25, 30, probably more. I mean, sometime during the Dubai 24 hours, there were 69 starters. So over a season, the drivers get to know each other well. There's a lot of mutual respect, and you know each other so well. So there's a lot of trust and respect, and so I think that's a much more safer environment to be in than in the roads.
I don't think people realize it, but I remember those pictures also.
And sorry to interrupt, and again, accidents are a part of, I mean, unless you push your own limits and the limits of the car, how would you get to the highest level? So I would call it an occupational hazard. Like it's a part of the job.
It's a difficult one.
No, but I see, you're not thinking of that all the time. You can't afford to just keep thinking, oh, will I crash? Will I be? You're focusing on improving your driving skills, your braking points. I mean, so many other things that you are taking, and that's the last thing on our mind. Yeah. But it's there at the back of your mind that yes, you could have a big one, and you just make sure that it's not a. It's more unforced than a forced error, So that's how you look at it. Be optimistic about whatever you're doing.
Do you think you've, even in racing, reached a high? I remember those pictures of you with the tricolor when Ajith Kumar Racing accomplished so much. Was that a moment for you where you felt this is what I got into racing for, to make the country proud?
See, I love motorsports. I don't want to fake it saying, oh, I'm doing this to promote motorsports back home. I'm pursuing something that I love very dearly. It makes my soul happy when I'm at the racetrack. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. In the process, if it reaches the people and people start following the sport, it helps promote the sport in some way or the other. I'd be a very happy man. I have a vision, and I have a vision that, I think we have a lot of talented drivers back in India. Look at what Naren Karthikeyan has achieved.
course,
Karun Chandok, and then there's Jahan Daruwala, Khush Maini, who's now a reserve driver for Alpine F1 team. His brother Arjun Maini, who's doing the endurance series. There's Sai Sanjay. There's so many drivers, and there are so many others who unfortunately haven't got the opportunity to race in the European series, because that's where people need to be. That's where the competition is really, it's extremely competitive, and due to lack of sponsorship and funds, they don't get the opportunity. So I would like to take this opportunity to probably let the corporates and sponsors know that motorsports needs their support. I'm very confident that in the coming future, probably, maybe 5 years from now, a decade from now, India will definitely have an F1 world champion. And not just in the single-seater formats, like endurance racing, I'm sure we have future world champions just waiting for that one opportunity to showcase their talent. But the motorsports needs a lot of support,
push,
financial support from corporates. And then just like cricket, like today cricket, people follow cricket. It's because everybody plays cricket, and they play cricket in their gullies, in their homes, so they know the sport. Probably that's why cricket has such a large following back in India.
Yeah.
So similarly, if motorsports can also be televised like how cricket is televised, I'm sure the corporates would want to be a part of it and promote the sport.
Hearing you speak about this, I think your passion is very, very evident. But I have to ask, between acting and motorsport, if you had to choose one, would you be able to? Is it passion that drives you also as an actor?
No, I'll see. The fact that I'm able to indulge in all my hobbies, be it aero modeling, or even motorsports, it's because of my profession. Like I said, it has rewarded me to a point that I know I can pursue I have the luxury of pursuing my passion. So, and I love my job. Yeah. I probably don't talk about it often, so people may get the impression that I give films stepmotherly treatment, which is not the truth. People around me, like Suresh and everybody, know how passionate I am towards my job. And like I say this very often, I have very strong work ethics. I don't need to be reminded what my responsibilities are. Like for example, if I need to be, let's say, in Mumbai for a shoot next month, I don't need a reminder. I'm there. Come what may. I know there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, and probably I've been very sincere and honest that I have, achieved much more than what I could have imagined in my life.
You did mention about how you choose not to speak too much about your career. Is that an intentional choice, to be as private as you can? Because you are in a very public arena, and your career, of course, puts you in the spotlight throughout. So do you choose intentionally to kind of step back?
Yes, to be honest, yes.
Why is that? Is that for your family, or is that personal choice?
It's sometimes you need a mental detox, right? The rewards are so great that at times it can corrupt you. The love, the admiration. You receive so much of it that sometimes you lose touch with reality. So probably that's why it's a conscious decision that I take, that I step out of my comfort zone, pursue my passion. Like racing, I'm a couple of seconds off, from the fastest driver on the track, but where I'm a nobody.
So it's a reality check.
It's a reality check. You're a nobody. No entitlement. You're just a nobody, and I need to prove myself all over again. So it's like starting from scratch all over again. So it kind of it makes me. I feel so humbled to know that, okay, I'm a nobody, and I like that. I like to seek new challenges. If you really look at it, there are times when even Shalini jokes saying, Ajith, hobbies are they're called hobbies because you find a way to relax, but your hobbies are all
dangerous.
life-threatening or very stressful. So how do you call it a hobby? Maybe subconsciously I seek challenges to, like you said, give me a reality check from time to time, so that success doesn't hit my head. I don't take things for granted.
My sense is that your definition of success itself is very different, because I don't think there's any other actor in the country who has so many passions, so many hobbies, and is so good at it. So,
No, I
do you
think-
define success very differently?
No, I think I beg to differ. I think probably there are many actors like Madhavan Maddy. I mean, he's a very good RC pilot.
Okay, I didn't know that.
No, in fact we fly together. I mean, he's passionate about cars.
Yes.
So it's just that probably some people don't talk about it. I know a lot of actors who have varied interests. They pursue a lot of. It's probably they don't talk about it.
But see, this is where I differ, in the sense that I think from what your wife said, that those are hobbies. For you, these are also, literally other occupations or professions that you're into besides acting.
No, I really don't know how far I will get in motorsports, but I want to get to the highest level possible as a race car driver in terms of my own abilities. Okay, right now I'm not only a racing driver, but I also am a team owner. It's very challenging to raise the funds.
I'm sure.
But I hope over the next couple of years I achieve my goals. I've set a few goals for myself as both a team owner and a racing driver. And thanks to my teammates Fabian and Matthew and Cameron, fantastic drivers. And I have Mr. Shiva Swaminathan, a very good friend of mine, dear friend of mine, who's known me since I was 16 years old, who is now helping us out, with all the management of the team, and even my motorcycle touring company. I started a motorcycle touring company 2 years ago. It's called Venus Motorcycle Tours, and that's registered in India. That handles all the tours operations within India. And there's Aspire World Tour, which is a company that's based out of Dubai, and that company operates tours, all the international rides. And right now we offer only guided tours.
Okay.
So we've had we are going to complete 2 years now in the next, probably in the coming month, close to about 60 tours. So I'm looking at life beyond films. I don't know if I can call it, term it as my retirement plan.
I was just going to ask you.
No, but yeah, I'd like to travel. I mean, I started working when I was 16. I turned 16, and I think within a month after I turned 16, I started working.
So you've been at it for 30 plus years.
More than 37 plus years. I wasn't academically inclined. I excelled in extracurricular activities and sports, and put me in a situation where I was given a choice of either pursuing education till I at least got a basic degree or work. I mean, my parents just gave me these two choices, but they said no idling away your time. I chose the latter. I decided to take up a job. So like I said, started working from when I was 16, and the film industry is a very physically and emotionally demanding job, just like motorsports. Yeah, after I'm done with films, after I'm done with racing, I'd like to travel. What better way than to run a motorcycle touring company where your passion, your hobby is also your
Kind of mixed into one.
It's like you can have best of both worlds.
The sense I get is that you grew up watching a lot of racing, not so much of films.
No, we grew up watching films. I mean, Tamil films, Hindi films, It's not that it's probably I don't talk about it. You know, there's so many films that I've watched as a youngster.
Which was your favorite film, or you think one that shaped you, and you felt that you were clear that racing is something that you're passionate about, enjoyed, but which was a film you saw and said, hey, maybe acting also is something I'd enjoy?
No, acting was never on my radar. I'm an accidental actor.
Oh.
See, I worked as a merchandiser in a garment export firm. In fact, I first started off after school. I worked for an automobile manufacturing company. For one of their dealerships, sales and service centers and apprentices. I was with them for about 6 months. When I took up racing, I was 18 when I started racing motorcycles, and my parents have been a huge. I mean, they were way ahead of their times. I remember my father telling me that, Ajith, motorsports is a very expensive sport. I cannot support you financially, but I will not stop you. I know how passionate you are about motorsports. You'll have to find your own way. And look at destiny. It so happened that I was at the racetrack when I was approached by a model coordinator who gave me his visiting card saying that, hey, look, if you're interested in modeling, please do contact us. And I didn't take it. I thought, okay, let me just give it a shot.
Get some money.
And then before I realized it, I started getting assignments, doing print ads, TV commercials, and the money that I made from modeling, I would spend on my racing.
Okay.
And the income that I generated from my work, my salary would I would give it to my mother.
Okay.
And so like when I again took up this job after my business went bust, I got a call for an audition for a Telugu film, and that was a language I couldn't speak.
Okay.
And I decided to pursue. I said, okay, fine, let me give it a shot. And my parents were they were very concerned. They said, Ajith, nobody in our family have been in the film industry. Think about it. I only told my parents, I told them, I mean, look, I know, I mean, it's like I'm leaping in the dark, but imagine all those talented people who want to become actors. If they got to know that someone like me has been approached by a production company and I refused to even consider that, imagine how angry they would be, Yeah,
it's an interesting way of thinking.
So I said, why don't you look at it from their point of view? So it's something that is coming my way. I don't know if I will make it, or maybe I won't. But to not make use of an opportunity that's coming your way by itself is a sin. At least for all those people who are struggling, at least let me just, since it's coming, and that's how I became an actor. And I remember, I was very naive. I remember being asked a question by a journalist saying, okay, how come, what made you take up acting? And I gave them this reason, saying that I incurred a few debts due to my business, and idea was to probably do a couple of films, and if I did become successful, make enough money to pay back my debts. It was like flabbergasted, and said, so you came in for the money, and he was very taken aback. And I told him, look, how many people have the intention of paying back a bad debt? So why don't you appreciate me that I agreed to take a leap in the dark, unknown territory, accepting to do a film. First of all, I had to audition for it. And I got through the audition, so it wasn't like, just, okay, come act. I had to prove myself. I had to prove myself worthy of that opportunity, and that to a language that I couldn't speak. Yeah, and so like I said, sometimes certain things are destined. So you just live for the day. Be honest with whatever you're doing. Be sincere. Have strong work ethics, and not think about. If I may say this, I didn't come to the industry wanting to be famous or seeking fame. I wanted work. that could help me pay back my debts. If you look at my first few films, I was a terrible actor. I couldn't speak the language, even Tamil. You know, for the first 5 films, I had other actors dub for me. I had a dubbing artist dub for me. It was only after, I think, my 6th film that I could dub for my own self. And I was criticized for the accent. You know, I had an anglicized accent. And even today, even till date, mimicry artists, you know, they mimic my my earlier modulation, but I worked on it. I worked on my diction. I worked on my Tamil. I worked on my a lot of things, and I was sincere. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm honest to what I'm doing. So,
which was your most memorable film in your own career?
Wali.
Oh yeah.
Wali. I mean, Wali is, that film will always be close to my heart.
Why?
I mean, probably got me the recognition. I mean, people took me. I believe that people took me seriously as an actor after Wali. Yeah, till then, yes, I did receive a lot of love and affection. When Asai happened, you know, okay, you know, people liked me, but I think Wali was what really opened up a lot of doors for me.
Yeah, my favorite is Kandukundi.
Kandukundi, yes. I mean, there are a lot of films that have done well for me, but very few films remain close to my heart. And I've been asked this question, why is it that you're only partial towards a few films? Like I could name films like Wali, Mangata, Billa.
Oh, Billa's a good one.
And the reason I say this is, see, there are some films that I feel anybody could have played those roles, and the films would have still gone on to become successful films. But like films like Wali and Billa or Mangata, or let's say even Varlar, I feel like, you know, it suited me to a point that it helped me showcase my potential as an actor. You know, the right thing to say would be it helped me push my boundaries.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, where I myself was surprised that I could.
That you could pull that off.
I could pull that off. So that's the reason I named those films as my favorite films. Not that I'm disrespectful to the other directors, but these films really helped me push my own boundaries.
Do you think, as an actor, I know you said that, you know, you're an accidental actor, you got into it because you wanted to pay off your debts. But do you think somewhere along the line in the last many years, as well as, you know, you've progressed in this industry, that you believe that as an actor also that there's a need to send the right message across to society? Do you think that burden should fall on actors or not really?
Okay, the reason I wanted to remake Pink, I mean, somewhere I felt very guilty for some of my earlier films. I wouldn't want to name them, where, you know, we have portrayed women, or we haven't portrayed women.
Was it a bit misogynist?
Like you know, stalking the hero, and like if a villain were to misbehave with the hero, and she would slap him, or the hero would come and help the damsel, the woman in distress. But if the hero did the same thing, if he was in love with a girl, he could do whatever he wants, misbehave with her. Yeah. And if the hero did that, the girl would go back home and she'd probably have a dream song. So somewhere I felt that probably we were encouraging stalking, I was encouraging stalking, and like, you know, sometimes people like to emulate what we do on screen. When Pink happened, I thought probably remaking that film would be one way of redeeming myself for all the
previous choices.
Previous choices of films that I did. So I'm glad I remade Pink.
Yeah.
I'm glad
reached a whole new audience.
And today I'm very conscious that I don't do roles where, you know, fans would feel like, oh, he's doing it, so probably it's the right thing to do, and I'm extremely conscious about it. Not, again, I don't want to say this, I'm not being politically correct here. I mean what I say. So I'm trying very hard, and I'm happy that I've met filmmakers, be it producers or directors, who are of the same opinion. You know, so yeah, and I hope I'm lucky that I find good scripts in the coming future.
I hope you're not planning to retire anytime soon, though.
You never know. See, it's not about me planning to. I could be forced into retirement.
I mean, you look at your last film, for example, how well it's done, Good, Bad, Ugly.
See, I like I tell you, I don't want to take anything for granted.
So you have a plan B for everything.
It's not a plan B. It's you never know. You know, like I see people complaining about life, complaining about to be born with your faculties intact, to be able to smell, to be able to see, to be able to, I mean, you know, and that itself is a blessing. To wake up the next morning and to feel alive, that itself is a blessing. Now, I don't want to sound philosophical here, but I've been through a lot of injuries, surgeries, and you know, I have friends who are cancer survivors. You know, I have family members who are cancer survivors, and we understand how valuable life is, just to be alive. So I want to make use of every second of my life.
And to make the most of it.
I want to make the most of it, and you know, probably when my time comes, I would like my maker to feel proud, saying, "Okay, I gave this soul a life, and he sucked the juice out of it, and used every second of it, you know, in a positive way." And that's how I want to live my life. I want to live life passionately and, yeah, not waste time at all.
And it's hugely inspiring, honestly, for someone like me to listen. I'm sure everyone will find it inspiring. But, you know, when you go through these thoughts of how you define success, of how you want to make the most of life, I wonder, are there people who inspire you into, you know, thinking like this?
Ayrton Senna. I'm a huge fan of Ayrton Senna. I grew up in the 80s watching Formula One, and those were the days when we never had live telecasts of motorsport. We didn't have satellite television back in India, right? So I had friends who would get these VHS tapes, you know, recorded for the GP 500 races. You know, I used to watch both two-wheeler, I mean, motorcycle racing and Formula One. And Ayrton Senna was one driver who, like, you know, I really idolized. And not only was he a great race car driver, but if you look at his interviews, I mean, very charming, very philosophical. Yeah, he's been a huge inspiration in my life. And the unfortunate part was he died on the 1st of May 1994, which happened to be my 23rd birthday, and we were watching it live.
Oh my God.
I mean,
broke your heart.
It broke my heart. It really broke my heart.
I know you said you're very conscious of that, but I think very often you see in the film industry now, big actors are all talking about pan-India. Not just being restricted to one industry, but doing pan-India films, being a pan-India hero. Is that something that you're looking to kind of cater to, or you think that, you know, it's something you don't think about those
I told you I don't like to overthink. And come on, it's not something that's new. Earlier, I mean, even in the 60s and 70s, Hindi films are remade into regional languages. Regional films like Telugu films, Tamil films were remade in Hindi. We've had actors and actresses from South who've done extremely well in North India. You can look at Rekha Ji, Srividhi ma'am, Vaijanti Mala Balaji, I mean, and vice versa. You know, you've had actresses from North India do exceedingly well in South, Jyotika, Simran. So I think this pan-India thing is probably a new terminology that we're using, but it's been happening over the last probably 3-4 decades. So yes, maybe what has changed, I would say, is post-COVID, the OTT platform.
Correct. It's opened up more.
It's opened up, and in a good way. You know, today there's a lot of job opportunities for actors. You know, they have a choice of either doing theatrical films, release films, or doing web series. And web series gives you, the OTT platform gives you a choice of experimenting with scripts where people are open to different kinds of scripts. So it's a good thing, and I'm happy that OTT happened.
Yeah, because you opened up a lot.
It has opened. It's social media.
Yeah.
Again, if you look at social media, it's a wonderful tool. Look at all the apps that you have today. We tend to blame, internet, saying, "Oh, it's become." It is toxic, but I wouldn't blame the tool. I wouldn't blame an app. It's who gets to use them and how they get to use them.
It's a mindset.
It's like a pen. They say pen is mightier than a sword. You give a pen to a good soul, he can probably change the destiny of a country or a nation for the better. You give it to a thief or a evil-minded person, he can probably commit a murder with that same pen. So would you blame the pen, say, or ban the pens? It's or a knife. You can save a life with a knife, or you can take a life with a knife. It depends if it's a doctor who's holding it or a thief who's holding it.
Yeah.
So don't blame the tool, don't blame the app, or don't say, oh, this is, so it's blame the people, who misuse it. So I think internet revolution it's a wonderful thing.
But is it a conscious choice by you to kind of stay off the social media space?
Yes.
That you are not active on it?
Yes.
And why? Because you are into current affairs, you track what's
No,
happening.
as it is, we get a lot of attention. As it is, we get. So yes, I'd like people to know. Sometimes I'm excited about my motorsports or my aero modeling or my passion. I'd like to share it, but not to a point where I'd want to have my own account. I am not comfortable with that idea. I'm still a very private person. With the people I've known for a long time, I'm like, I'm very, when I get comfortable, I'm very transparent, and I share a lot of things that happen in my life. But otherwise, I like to keep it private as much as I can. But today, again, you step out of your house, there's nothing. You're papped everywhere.
Very true. Yeah.
It's I have people who say, oh, of late you're being seen. It's just that I'm now with my motorcycle touring company. I'm out on the roads on the motorcycle, my racing. So whether I like it or not, I'm being photographed, or there's no way we can escape not being seen in public. So it's not that we actors are seeking attention. It's just that
Comes your way.
It's just, you can't escape it, and that's the way it is today.
It's an occupational hazard.
I wouldn't say it's again. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not that we are seeking attention. You go to the airport, somebody's there are people who take pictures. There are people who are recording you, checking in, checking out, getting in, getting out of the airport. So there's no way you are not going to be seen on the social media.
Yeah.
So
We saw it right now.
yeah, so
many people.
that's so the world has changed. A lot of things have changed.
Which is
like
why
like
I asked,
like
if you're
I say,
moving with the times.
no, change is something that we have to accept. My daughter is 17. She turned 17 this Jan. My son turned 10 March, and I constantly keep telling them that. Do not define your life by results, like being successful or by success or failure. Do whatever you're doing to the best of your own abilities, and accept change, or force yourself out of your comfort zone. There will come a time when you feel that things are smooth sailing. Force yourself out of your comfort zone before others force you out of it. So let it be your decision, your conscious decision to get out of your comfort zone, to know that you're a nobody.
Yeah.
Take up something new, take up a new challenge, take up a new skill, work on it. It could be anything, but challenge yourself.
You live by that principle.
See, again, I lucked out, and I'm very lucky that I have Shalini, my friends who brutally honest with me. Merciless. If I mean, it could be anything that I do, and if they just tell me up front.
To your face.
There's no sugar coating. There's no like, oh, how do we tell him? And it's on my face. So it's like I go back home. There's a reality check every day.
You don't need critics. You have critics in your
and
life.
my children. I mean, they're brutally honest with me, and so I'm under no false belief that everything's like And, I have people who put me in place when I get back home.
There are no illusions.
Absolutely no illusions. Absolutely. And I would hate it if I had friends who were like, only
Applauding you non-stop.
applauding me, singing hosanas about me, I would hate it. I would hate it.
Yeah. You were talking about fame, and everyone talks about how great it is to be an actor, how you're recognized worldwide. Is that really the view that you also see, that it's great to be a celebrity?
See, not just about being a celebrity. I mean, it's about being at the top of your game in any field. Okay, you could be an actor, you could be a sports person, or you could be a politician. From my experience, and I say this very, very modestly, initially, when you attain success, there are more advantages. You enjoy a lot. The benefits of being famous and everything, till you become really successful. Then the advantages, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. You suddenly become the envy of a lot of people. Initially, when you become successful, you looked up as a role model.
Versus becoming...
And then when you really attain
peak success,
then you become an envy. I mean, people become envious of you. So the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. So when you go to a particular place or something, you're intentionally made to wait.
Truly?
Yeah, that's happened. I don't want to. There are times when there are people who intentionally you go, you seek an appointment, and you're intentionally made to wait because they think, oh, just because you're so and so, you expect me to
cater to you.
To cater to you, is it? Wait.
My God.
So, so there are a lot of. There is a flip side to being successful as beyond a point.
You face a lot of ego.
I see, again, people in public life, you face a lot of prejudice. As much as yes, there are benefits, but there is a flip side to it. But like I said, I'm a very optimistic person. I move on. Like, for example, I avoid confrontations. Not that I'm an escapist. I like to choose my battles.
So there are some things you believe is out of your...
I like to choose my battles. Sometimes I feel it's better to lose a battle, but it's like just move on, because it's a waste of time.
Yeah, because you keep going on.
Just keep going on, and it has worked for me. So I wouldn't say it's escapism. It's just that from experience I realized that some people are not worth your time.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say? So
you prioritize.
I compartmentalize. Like, it's like packing lunch to work. It's nice when you have your food sorted,
Correct.
the gravy and the dry and the chapatis and dry.
Yeah.
Imagine putting everything together and mixing it up.
Yeah.
That you do only when you're in a rush.
Correct.
Sometimes you're forced in a situation where you have to eat that way, or either on the move, or you're on a job, you're on the roads, and you're like you're a journalist. There are times when you don't have the time for a proper meal, and then you just
do whatever.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of situations do happen in life. But it's nice to so in life we will have a lot of problems. I have faced a lot of problems. I compartmentalize. Sometimes health, wealth, relationships. So you see what is important.
And you choose and pick.
So from time to time, sometimes priorities change. Sometimes you say, okay, your health can take a back seat. Your career, your job needs to be given attention. So you compartmentalize depending on the phase that you're going through.
Yeah.
And sometimes your relationship will need more attention. So then you put everything else aside. and then you focus on the relationship. You know, so I try to compartmentalize. I'm not saying I've been successful. Most of the times I fail, you know, but it's a never-ending process. Trying to, and again, your compartmentalizing also is a challenge, because prioritizing by itself is a, sometimes you know,
Kind of
you
which
don't
to pick.
which to pick, which to prioritize. So
Yeah.
so, but I tell people, don't. When I say people, it's like my loved ones. I mean, I'm not trying to preach to others. And when I say, when I in my interview, I've used the term very often. I tell, it's my friends and family. You know, where I know I can take the liberties of telling them, my children, my close friends. I tell them, look, it worked for me. I prioritize my problems. So yeah, that's how I'm.
That's how you work it out, essentially.
And like I said, it's a never-ending process. It just keeps going.
You learn along the way.
In life, the good days are far less than the bad days,
I'd agree.
and we have to
We're
accept
fortunate for that.
that. We have to. The number of good days or the good moments in life are far less compared to the bad. But then you just,
Go with the flow.
so you just go with the flow. Just keep doing what your conscience thinks is right. Just go ahead.
So you're into motorsport, actor, of course. There are a lot of peers in your industry who have also taken the other's jump, which is politics. What do you think of that? Is that something you would ever consider?
No, personally, I'm not politically ambitious. And as far as my peers' interest in politics is concerned, it's of course their personal choice. I wish them well, and it's their belief. And the best thing about democracy is that, you know, people finally get to choose their leadership, and I wish not just my peers, anybody who wishes to get into politics, believing that they can make a change. I wish them well. I wish them well. It's their personal choice.
Do you think it's a natural transition? It's a big responsibility, being in politics, representing people. So do you think it's a natural transition of sorts? You have this huge fan base which then converts into political support?
Okay, let me put it this way. Like for example, people watching films, it's easy for them to be watching a film and then to judge and say, oh, this film may be punir kala, you could have done this, the film could have been better. But being in the film industry, nobody wants to make a bad film.
True, yeah.
If we all knew what the formula was, then everybody would be, every film would be a success. The same with politics. From the outside, it's easy for us to pass judgments or, give suggestions as to how, what kind of policies could be implemented or what's good for the country. But it's only if you are in the battlefield, you really know what the issues are, or why is it difficult to, or how easy or difficult it is to implement policies. Because, we are a country of 1.4 billion people, different religions, castes, languages. So it's very difficult to please all the people all the time. And believe me when I say this, when I was at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, right from entering Rashtrapati Bhavan, following the protocol, going through the security, I could feel the weight of that responsibility that leaders have to experience every day in their life. And trust me, I don't envy them. I mean, it's a tough, it's
not easy.
It's a very tough job. It's a lesson learned. I've always been apolitical. I've tried
Consciously?
to be very consciously, and then I think that's the way I would like to be. Be it state politics or center, national politics, I'll definitely be very conscious in passing my judgments, even among my close circle, you know,
Yeah.
because I could feel that at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. I could really feel it.
Just the sheer burden of the
That's
responsibility.
no, I wouldn't say burden. It's the
Weight.
responsibility of a country or a state on one's shoulders. Is something really, really, really. It can be really overwhelming.
So you think it's brave then to put oneself out there and say, I want to be a politician?
100%. 100%. See, you have good people, bad people in every sphere of life, not just politics. I'm sure a lot of people are in politics for the right reasons and a few for the wrong reasons. So I think generalizing is something that I will definitely refrain from. Even among, let's say, journalists, there are some of them who are very nice, they ask the right questions, and there are some who seek sensationalism, you know.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say they're wrong, but sometimes their job demands them to ask such questions. At the end of the day, it's your editorial that's paying you. Suresh is proof, because he's been with me for the last 33 years, I mean, right from my first film. And even during the days that I would give interviews, I would always begin an interview by telling the journalist, look, you're free to ask any question that you want. But if I refrain from answering any particular question, please move on with the next question.
Don't keep poking.
It's not don't keep poking. It's like, let's say I'm a batsman. I mean, there is a bowler who's delivering 6 balls in an over. I mean, there are some deliveries I'd like to let go, because I know that it could
It could be problematic.
I could score a 6, or it could put me in a problem. So then, like, you know, you tend to. So give me that. As much as I accept that, you know, you're being paid by your editorial or whichever publication that you work for, and it's your job to ask questions. I'm nobody to tell you what to ask. I'm not paying you. But at least, you know, let there be mutual respect, where let me decide what I wish to answer. If I remain silent for, let's say, more than 10 seconds, please assume that it's something that I am not comfortable answering, and move on with the next one.
You know, from what you tell me of, you know, what you believe in, the circle that you've kept yourself around, I want to understand from you, now that you've been honored with the Padma Bhushan, what is the legacy you'd like to leave behind? As an actor, as a racer, what's your legacy to your fans or to anyone?
I mean, all I would say is, today in my life, you know, I fondly remember, and I keep a few people in my prayers. I mean, they could be my co-stars from the film industry, directors, producers, who probably nowhere on the radar today, or my ex-colleagues, for the only reason that they treated me very well in the initial days of my career. I would want to be remembered like that. I don't want to leave behind a legacy, but if people, when they get to somewhere in life, you know, and let's say a decade, I mean, take you for example, I mean, you're starting your career now, I mean, let's say 20 years down the line, when you achieve all your goals, all your ambitions, and if you know, remember me as one of those people who treated you well, I think
that stays with you.
I mean, okay, who are the people who treated me well when I was starting off on a new career, on a new path? And if I figured in that list, I think I would be very happy with myself.
So you want to be remembered as the person that you were.
I mean, I tell everybody, let's just be, I mean, success, failure. Like I told you, I mean, I could be forced into retirement tomorrow.
I don't believe that.
No, let's be realistic here. Let's not. I mean, I could be forced into retirement tomorrow, or ill health could put me out of work tomorrow. But that shouldn't define me. That shouldn't define my life. You know, I would like to be remembered as someone who's been nice, who's treated people well, who's been kind, irrespective of the social sphere they come from. And that's how I would want others to be. Just be kind, just be nice. Yes, there are times when I have my bad days.
Everyone does.
I mean, there are times when I have my bad days. It could be at work, and there are times when I'm, you know, sometimes people say, "Oh, Ajith, yeah, okay, nice guy." They probably met me when I was, you know,
in a good
in a
mood.
good frame of mind and being myself. Sometimes, you know, and then I've obliged for autographs or pictures. You know, they would have found me nice, approachable. And maybe there are people who say, "Oh, he's an arrogant guy," you know. And they probably approached me when I was preoccupied with, you know, other things. You know, maybe I was dealing with a health issue or a problem that you know was stressing me out. But these are moments. But in general, the character that you're born with. I mean, I'd like to be remembered as a nice man. And I know for a fact that consciously I haven't. Consciously, I've never tried to. I've never hurt anyone. Maybe subconsciously I have, and if at all I have, I'd like to take this opportunity and ask for forgiveness. And probably today I'm a little older, wiser, and I hope I be a better person as time goes by.
I think that's a great note to end this interview on. You've been very indulgent with your time. Thank you very much. And congratulations once again to you, to your family, for this great honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice talking to you on that.